Morning everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for the Wednesday mark making workshops. We haven't been live for now a few weeks due to other commitments and to do with like uni practical and everything. But we're back again today and we finish on the 30th of June, so we've got another 4 sessions after this. And you can join just using the Zoom link. I always share the Eventbrite link for the tickets and everything, so if you would like to join, then just have a look on there. And these workshops are really for anyone who just wants to get creative using different objects and materials. So yeah, if you would like to join, then just join the session, give me an email or something like that. So today we're going to be working with some different materials such as like cardboard, recycled packaging. I've got some delivery boxes here, so little things like this, some envelopes, and I've got some like bubble wrap and brown paper, so a few different materials just to experiment with. And I've also got newspaper and then the standard A1 and A2 white card, but we did start off using white card in the first few sessions, and then after that we just started to move on to different like ways of packaging things and different ways of creating on different surfaces. And what we've been doing, they were up before on the wall behind me, but what I've been doing is asking people to send me works if they can, or photographs or something. And it turned into a bit of a mail art project where they'd create something in the workshop, something very flat, and then they could then send it to me in different ways. And a lot of people were experimenting with packaging. Fiona experimented with lots of painting and different ways to package her work, with a box or painting inside the envelope and different ways to slot together. So again, different mail art techniques. And then sent me them, and then I can then put them on the wall behind me. So it goes from something very 2D, on the workspace at home, to then being transferred to a different space and being put on like a gallery, like a DIY gallery wall at home, alongside other artists, really, other people. So it is very interactive in that sense. So again, if you do know anyone that would like to join, they're running until the 30th of June, so 11 till 1 p.m. until the 30th of June. So if you would like to have a look, then please join. And all the videos get shared from Zoom onto my YouTube channel as well. So if you would like to have a look or get any inspiration or whatever, just have a look on there or just give me a message. So today I've got things like household objects, so either found objects or just discarded like random ones around the house. So I've got things like kitchen objects like sieves, brushes, I've got a whisk here which seems to work really well, like plastic cups, got some sensory balls here, and I've got some tennis balls on string. And I've also got nail brushes, and then these really cool like plastic pastry cutters as well, which seem to work really, really well. So if you would like to join, then please just do so. So what I'm gonna start doing is just moving my objects to the side. Just waiting for some more people to get in if they can. Just going to start by moving all these objects to the side, just so I've got a clear kind of workspace. And I've got my paints in the palette already, so I use 2 palettes for these workshops. So a slightly smaller one and then a slightly bigger one with squares. And again, using primary colours, and then thinking about colour mixing and different ways that we're going to apply marks to the surface. So we're going to be using random objects and kind of challenging, I guess, the conventions of art. So rather than just using a paintbrush to make marks, we're going to be using different objects to create marks and different textures on the surface. So again, a very different way of creating a painting or a performance. And thinking about recycling and using different surfaces, so different materials to use. If you've got any cereal boxes at home or any just discarded like toilet roll tubes or something, then again, please bring those to the workshops because they'll be more than welcome. So in these workshops, we normally create quite a few pieces, so I would advise maybe putting a sheet down or something, just so you don't get any paint anywhere. And you don't have to use paint, you can use other things like oil pastels or chalks or anything, but if you are wanting to use the objects to create marks with, I would say ready mixed paint is quite a good option. So what I'm going to start by doing is just tearing a bit of bubble wrap off. Now this is just oh my gosh, this is just a 10-meter roll of bubble wrap that I've got here. So I'm just going to start by tearing just a little bit off here, and then getting a brush and just painting, I think, a nice yellow or something. So maybe a yellow and a bit of red. So again, thinking about colour mixing and blending colours on the surface. So a bit more of that red on here. And then what we can do is just get our painted bubble wrap, place it down on the surface, just gently tap, and then just peel off. And then already you can see that it's made some really cool kind of dots on this packaging. Now this is just an Amazon box that I saved up from last week. But what I quite like doing as well is when you're creating on a smaller surface, putting some paper down or card down. And then as you're creating on that, it's also creating marks on the other surface below, which is quite interesting. Now, a lot of people in these workshops have actually asked me in previous weeks about maybe doing some little experiments like this and just showing you different techniques and different marks that the objects can make. So again, like a tutorial kind of base workshop, but again, very experimental. However, because a lot of people have been kind of coming in and saying, oh, can we just kind of do our own thing or have a bit of an informal chat? I thought it was quite interactive in the sense that we were talking about new ideas and, for instance, working with collage. That's kind of what developed me to think about collage and different materials through the conversations that we were having. So I just decided to make it very interactive and very informal in the sense that I was kind of showing you a bit of the experiments with different objects, different things that I've got, and just holding like works up like I'm doing that, rather than making it very tutorial based where you've all got to do the same thing as me. I want it to be quite experimental, so these workshops are very informal, very relaxed, and just a really good way to think about new art making techniques and new things that you can use to make art with. So this bubble wrap is actually going to be left to dry, I think. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. And then I'm thinking on top of this, I'm going to add some white. So I'm going to use one of my nail brushes as well, just to dab into that paint. And then just create some interesting marks on the surface. So something like this. Now I'm just waiting for, I think, Fiona and Rochelle to join, but I'm not too sure where they are at the moment, so we'll just carry on and see. So I'm just thinking about different textures. So I've got things like dots and different lines and stuff. So again, how may it work if you wanted to create a painting of something using an object? What will it look like? So it'll look very abstract, but what will it look like if you try and create a figurative kind of drawing or painting using these really random painting objects, I'm going to say? And I've always been interested in performance, so I've obviously thought about performing with these objects, as well as each of us performing in our own environments, in the sense that we're all experimenting with these tools in our own spaces, and that really got me thinking about locations and spaces that we create with it. Now that's one of my first ones that I've done, like using blended kind of materials. I've just kind of smudged some of the paint together using this nail brush. And I'm going to move on to my pastry cutters as well. So I'm going to use, I think, some black paint. And I'm just going to use this plastic pastry cutter, just dab it in the paint so it'll create a black ring. And then just gently kind of dab it on here. So it looks very abstract, but then you've got these quite formal kind of geometric shapes within that. So think about colours and pattern as well. Because for me, the use of objects and the use of mark making is quite experimental and just very improvised, very spontaneous, very random. But to an extent, I plan what objects I'm going to use, what colours I'm going to use, and then it's just a very experimental and kind of messy play for adults in a way. I think that's one of the terms that Fiona actually used in one of the workshops, messy play for adults. So that idea of play and experimentation through practical artworks is really interesting. And then the kind of process and the activity of art making and mark making and experimenting with objects and materials, because we are very much using different objects, materials as in like different surfaces such as recycled materials, envelopes, card, newspaper, brown paper, bubble wrap, as well as obviously the paints, and then using these tools to transfer the paint from one surface to another. So I am going to now go and put these on the floor and just leave them to dry. And at the moment, I'm just focusing on making some small experiments. So I have done things like drip painting in the past, and using like toilet roll tubes to kind of roll the paint onto the surface. So again, think about different ways to apply the material, I would say. Now, one of the objects that I quite like using is the tennis ball. I'm just going to be careful I'm not getting paint everywhere, but I normally, it's just on a bit of string, just dunk it in the paint, and then just make some really abstract, really colourful marks. And I think the use of coloured, like ready mixed paint, and then the objects really indicates that it can be an activity that you could maybe do at home with the kids, with the grandchildren, you know. You could do it outside if you want, you know, in this nice warm weather. So again, think about different things that you can use. So different objects, maybe you want to use some natural materials. So you could go on a walk and collect some, I don't know, some twigs or something. So again, think about the different things that you can use, different materials and everything. Now I'm just going to dunk it in some white paint as well. So again, just thinking about blending colours together. Now I'm going to leave that here. So again, just putting it on another surface that I'll be using. So just creating, again, very improvised marks. These things can't really be determined when when you're painting and using a brush and you're painting a nice picture. You're controlling where the brush is going, whereas these objects, you're not really controlling them because they're making maybe certain marks, or it's the angle that you put them on the page. So again, these works are very unique in the sense that they can't be done exactly right again, which is quite an interesting way to think about art. Now I'm going to use this whisk, and in the past I've talked about like Jackson Pollock and action painting. So what we're going to be doing is using the whisk, just rolling it in the paint gently, and then just splattering it, and maybe using it to print with on this corrugated cardboard. Again, from a packaging box that I got from a delivery. So you can see there that we've got a bit of action painting and a bit of printing using the whisk. Now I've just got a sheet down at home, so I'm just using that as my surface to kind of hold these works at the moment. Now I've also got this A3 brown envelope that, again, I got from uni, actually, from a project that I've been doing to do with sculpture and cardboard, and this is from one of my ideas. So I've actually got a lot of brown envelopes that I will be using. Now what I'm actually going to do is just use some scissors and just cut it up, because the only reason I started using different materials and different things is because I was sick of using the same kind of regular shaped white card all the time. So I just thought, well, why not mix it up? So use some scissors and maybe cut things in half and then stick them together again. So again, different ways of making work. Now you can either use sellotape or masking tape to then stick things together. So think about collage and different shapes that you can make from doing this. So I'm just going to use a bit of masking tape. And the good thing about masking tape is you can actually paint over it. So it is very handy. So I've got something. Let's do that. I've got something now like this. This is going to be my surface to work on. Again, using irregular shapes and recycled materials. So maybe think about packaging or post, you know, packaging that you've got left over at home or some post that someone sent you. Think about saving that packaging and then doing something with it, something creative. What you can maybe do is drag the tennis ball around the surface to create a really cool, like spirally kind of shape. Again, it does get quite messy, but I would advise if you're at home just to put a sheet down or something to protect the table. You know, I'm in our living room at the moment as well, and I've just got some white card down just to protect the surface and so it doesn't go everywhere. Now what I'm thinking is just using a brush and just doing some kind of actiony painting. Just kind of flicking the yellow paint. Maybe think about flicking it on an angle just so it kind of blends together and creates some very like gestured kind of marks. Maybe you want to just add a line or some very formal shapes just using the brush. Again, think about what you can make. Maybe you want to just do a bit of drip painting, just holding the brush up and it just drips onto the surface. So again, just think about what you can use. Now, so far I just use like yellow and blue. No, I think yellow and blue are quite a good combination actually, in terms of using colours and everything. So I've got something like that I may just add a little bit of white to. Or shall I say now light blue. And then I'm actually going to leave it because I quite like the colours that I've got going on here at the moment. And now I've got another brown envelope that I'm going to use. This time I'm thinking of cutting it on an angle, so something like that. So again, using line, but just kind of cutting it up a little bit just to make it a bit different. Maybe cut the end here. So now I've got 4 different bits, just using scissors just to cut up. And I'm just going to distort them and just kind of arrange them in different ways. So maybe something like that. And then either use masking tape or sellotape, depending on what you've got to hand at home. Masking tape is easier to paint over, but again, it really is up to you what you use. Now, the good thing about these workshops is they're very interactive, but also very free in the sense that I can show you different ideas and different things that you can do with these materials, but then you've kind of got that time to then experiment yourself, rather than me telling you exactly what to do. And all the videos that I do take as well are saved onto my YouTube channel. So again, if you don't get a chance to make these workshops, then just have a look on there, and maybe you want to send me a message or send me some works. I know I've had a lot of people sending me artworks or kind of mark making pieces that they've done in their own time, just using inspiration from my kind of social media, because I obviously always post these videos and different things. Just bear with me a minute. I'm just gonna have a look if Fiona is on, because she was meant to be in today's workshop. Let me just have a look. I don't think she's able to get into the meeting. I think it's the email that's not quite working for her. Right, I'm just going to send her the quick link for the workshop, I think. Just because she's not able to get into the Zoom link. Right, I sent the link out, so we'll just see who manages to get in, I think. Right, anyway, so we started off by making one of these kind of like irregular shaped packaging kind of surfaces. So again, just using a very collage based technique. I'm just going to start by creating some like different kind of paint marks on the surface. So maybe some stripes as well. So again, just using different colours. And when you think about it, every time you're painting, you're really creating marks on the surface. So just think about different marks that you're making within that. I'm just going to add a bit more yellow on there. Now, what I'll be doing as well is in a minute just checking just to see, because I think there's a lot of people that are struggling to actually get in the workshop, and I'm not too sure why. But I'll have a look and then see what we can do. So now that we've got some like really cool stripes on the surface, we're going to think about marks on top of that. So again, using the pastry cutters to create some really cool kind of circles on the surface. So something like this. And then if you do want something on top, then maybe think about adding maybe a white or something. I'm going to just do some more of my kind of Jackson Pollock action painting kind of pieces. There we go. So I'm just going to then put that down and just leave it to dry. Now I think I'm going to just have a quick check as well, just to see if they've managed to get into the meeting. Because they said they would keep trying on it. Alright, I'm not too sure why it's not working actually. Because I have sent the links out. So I've got these A5 kind of white envelopes that we'll be using, and again using nail brushes and bath brushes just to make some different marks this time, I think. So I'm gonna go into my white and just create a nice little surface to then paint over. So creating some really kind of abstract marks. Now I've actually put my blue brush in the yellow paint. So I'm just going to scoop all that out, I think. Morning, Fiona. Morning. I did send the link to you before. I'm not too sure why it wasn't working. I'm sorry for that.
No, I don't know, because you just resent me the link, didn't you?
I resent you the link, yeah, and I started around 11:15 just to see, you know.
I don't know what went wrong. I was putting in the number and the passcode, and it was just kept kicking me right out. So anyway, I went in with the link that you just sent me, and that got me in, no problem at all. Happy days. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a little sniffly. I've got a little bit of a cold at the moment. How does that even happen when everybody wears masks and slashes stuff at each other? So I don't know.
How are you enjoying this nice weather? It's nice and warm, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I don't love sunny weather, I've got to be honest with you. I like it when it's dry and I like it when it's warm, but I don't appreciate hot weather. Yesterday it was really hot here in Edinburgh. Yeah. And it looks like it's going to be hot again today. I was out earlier on and it was quite hard work. So, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice. We haven't had enough hot weather this year for me to complain about it. Well, hang on. So yes, how are you? Have you enjoying the warm weather?
Yes, yeah. Well, it started to be really, really warm this past week, actually. Yeah. But I've finished in the studio at uni now, so we're just working towards our final statements and presentations.
Brilliant.
Been working with the gallery as well, the Henry Moore Gallery, the Leeds Art Gallery. Again, getting our final kind of works ready to submit. So it's been busy, but yeah, no, it's been good for sure. And we've also been working on an engagement project for the summer in the Henry Moore Gallery, where we're creating like zines and different packs for children, to do with like sculpture and portable sculpture. I actually messaged you before, didn't I, about the envelopes as well, and the cardboard sculpture that I've been doing. They're just little kind of mail art tests, so I've been putting together like packs of packaging and some instructions and different things, so then people can kind of join in at home. So I will be sending those out this week, actually. So
nice one.
You'll get yours soon.
So is that aimed at a younger audience on the whole, though, Holly?
From about 12 onwards, really. But again, I've included like templates and different things, so it can be aimed at a younger audience if they do use like templates and the added kind of things that I've included in.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And you've got a new background. What's going on in your wall?
I'll show you. They're actually photographs from my presentation, so different images of my cardboard sculptures that I've been doing.
Nice.
Double-sided. That I've kind of created, where I've used photographs taken from around Leeds, and I've created like a sculpture map and some postcards as well, for a lot of different experiments for the project. So
busy lady.
What materials have you got with you this morning then?
Well, look what I've got, Holly. I found it when I was on my holidays last week, and we were walking along by St Andrews golf course, which, as you may know, is the first golf course ever. And we weren't actually walking on the course, we were walking on the beach beside it. But I came across this in the dunes, so I thought, well, I'm going to have that, and I'm going to try a ball again in Holly's workshop. And also I was doing a bit of in another workshop that I was doing, we were doing a bit of paper cutting.
Ooh.
And I've ended up with lots of bits and pieces left over, which I'm going to try and scrumble with. So that's a kind of a bit of joined up thinking. Oh, breathless. And also I have this lovely large elastic band, which I'm going to play with today as well. And I've been busy. Before I went away, I found a nasty old lime in my fruit bowl, which I nearly threw out, and then I decided to cut it in half and just dry it out while I was on holiday and see if I could make some nice marks with this bit of lime. Not sure it's going to work because it's gone quite moldy, actually. And I've been really busy. I managed to rescue some foamy bits of packaging as well. So I'm hoping to make some nice S shapes out of them.
A lot of
anyway,
going on.
what you working on?
I'll show you what I've just done before you joined. I've been using kind of brown envelopes and like delivery boxes as well. And what I've done with this one is I've just kind of taken an A3 envelope and then just used scissors and just cut it in different kind of geometric shapes and then reassembled it using masking tape. Creating different shapes other than using just a standard, box kind of shape. So yeah, so I've been working.
Yeah, good idea. Good.
Have you got any more paints? Then have you managed to get any ready mix paints for the work?
Oh gosh, no! I say every week I'm going to do it, and I never get round to doing it. No, so I'm still on my my acrylics. Although I might mess about with some ink this week as well. We'll see what happens.
Now, I liked your box packaging that you sent me as well before. You know, the green and the yellow one that you kind of put together and then it opens out. I did like it. I really did like that.
I like that one. I think that was one that somebody else did, and I just reused it actually. Yeah, I think that's
another one, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
Another package of different things, which was quite cool. The one where it kind of opened up and then you slotted the works inside.
Ah, yes. That was where I'd got some materials from the works, the shop, the works.
Yeah.
And then yes, and then I just refolded it all. So I'm actually going to be recycling. So I think I told you before that my dad does artwork. My dad's an amateur artist. And he created a whole load of prints a number of years ago, gosh, about 4 or 5 years ago, and he mounted them all. So I'm going to do a bit of recycling with some of his work, and today I've actually just ripped open one of the pieces. I've tossed aside the print, which my dad would be mortified to hear, and I'm going to use the backing. I'm just going to use the cardboard to.
Because you said you were going to ask him, didn't you, in the last workshop that we had?
Yeah. I haven't asked her. I will, but today's not. This week hasn't been the week. So I was away last week, and I saw him on Monday. No, this week's not the week. I don't know what colours to use, and I don't know where really to start. I think I'm going to start with my golf ball because that was the one I was most excited about. I'm
actually going on a walk with a friend this afternoon, so we're going to be collecting some more kind of mark making materials from outdoors. So that should be fun. We might do a bit of mark making outside if she's up for it.
Oh, that's quite good. Oh, that's going to work. Just paint now.
like the idea of printing with the materials as well, and just kind of using kind of objects that will make different kind of shapes on the surface as well. So I'm just at the moment just doing a bit of printing. I noticed that you've got all of your works behind you as well, hung up. Is that like
Yeah.
a work area then? Or?
Well, it's yeah, I suppose it is. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I'm hoping to get a big whiteboard back there so that I can put things up whilst they are in progress. Oh, Holly, look what I've done. Is you know how I've not been terribly successful with balls because they've been very messy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what I've got is my golf ball.
Ooh.
And I'm going to see if I can show you without getting too messy. A golf ball and a shot glass.
Oh.
Like a little old shot glass. Don't ask why I've got shot glass sitting on my table. And I'm just using the shot glass to roll the ball around, which means I'm not getting messy and it's making some fantastic marks.
I always find it exciting, you know, when you get new objects to use for mark making and you test it for the first time. I always think that's quite interesting, you know, especially when it doesn't react how you think it's going to react as well.
Yeah. Well, I was really excited to find the ball. She's like, it's a golf ball. And, you know, I wouldn't normally get excited about golf balls, which is fair enough. No, I'm going to use this in my workshop. It's going to be brilliant. And it is.
Now that kind of social distancing is somewhat relaxed, I'm going to say somewhat relaxed.
Relaxed, yes.
I'm really thinking about maybe gathering a group of maybe my friends that live kind of close to me and doing some sort of live painting thing outside.
Brilliant.
Like fabrics and maybe large kind of pieces of newsprint and just videoing that kind of event. Something that I've talked about for quite a while now, but obviously with COVID, there hasn't been the right time to really do it.
Well, I don't know, because on the meadows, which is kind of like a bit of a public parkland up here, there has been art experiences going on, definitely. People have been like gathering and using the space and using the trees, and there was definitely one. We have a thing called Audacious Women, and they run workshops throughout February. I wasn't able to actually go to any of them this year, but they did some public arts where they did exactly that. They kind of set out sheets of paper, and people were able to kind of go to a kind of a communal area where they would got bits and pieces, and then worked on individual pieces, which then got pulled together and hung up on I suppose like a washing line. And then the artwork was there for a few days, because I went to see it. I didn't see the workshop taking place, but I saw the sort of the result of it, so as it were.
Really interesting. Some sort of like, I guess, outdoor creative space as well, like an outdoor kind of gallery, exhibiting area. I wonder if they've had to get some sort of special permission depending on where they've done it as well.
Well, do you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth there. I don't know whether that would be actually quite a rebellious thing to do, or whether they actually had permission to do that. It would not surprise me in the least to know that they had done it without permission and against the rules. Perhaps I shouldn't be encouraging you to do that. Yes, check with your local authority.
No, it reminds me of something that I did about 2 years ago for an event in Kendal called Kendal Torchlight. It's a weekend carnival full of like events, music, and then as well as art and different craft stalls. And we actually made like a site-specific sculpture using cardboard packaging to create really life-size kind of buildings using this packaging. And then we invited the audience to then come and then paint and decorate in different ways. And it was a really nice kind of painting installation in a way, like outside as well, just inviting the audience. That act of inviting them to come and join in the work as well made it really, really interesting, actually, really interactive.
And do people join in? Do people
Yeah,
take the opportunity? Yeah.
I mean, it was mainly children, and then obviously their parents who would come along and do it with them. But no, it was really good, really interesting. But the most I've done in terms of interacting with the audience has been very much online, actually. So I kind of want to steer away from that and do maybe some more things in person, even in-person events, which then can be recorded and put onto social media or YouTube or whatever. But I would like to do something in person rather than online as well. As much as I enjoy doing it online, I would like to try.
I think it's going to be vitally important over the next year that people start being together again and doing activities in person. I wouldn't have been out without Zoom this year. Last year not so much, but this year has been, yeah. But it is time to be with people again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the workshops that I've been doing with Unique Kids on a Friday are probably going to run up until when I go back to uni in September. But we have been talking about maybe me going into the space and actually meeting them as well, because I haven't met them. It's just been solely online for way over a year now.
Yeah.
Back when we had the very first lockdown. So we have been talking about going into the space and doing some sort of craft day or craft event with them. And we've actually started a project called Cardville City, where they can make their own kind of miniature world using cardboard packaging that they can recycle, and just getting them to think about the environment as well. And a lot of paints going on, which they've enjoyed doing. But we've actually thought about meeting up and doing some sort of craft day in person.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
Really good, definitely, because I have enjoyed doing these online workshops, but I would like to try something on my own in person, because the only real painting thing that I've done has been with another organisation, which I've then kind of collaborated with them. I haven't done anything solo, on my own, apart from these workshops. So I think a different type of interaction would be really interesting, really great.
I'm surprised that you haven't had more attendance at your workshops, to be honest with you, Holly. I thought that you deserve a better attendance than just me, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have shared it as much as I can. You know when you share something and you don't want to overdo it. I do normally share it on Mondays, on Tuesdays, and I always share the link, the information. I've done some little branding kind of squares for it as well for social media. But I don't know. I mean, I've shared it a lot with community groups as well as my own course at uni. The thing is, with them, a lot of people actually don't turn up to the uni meetings anyway. We've got a class of about 50, and then normally to these big group meetings there'll be like a top of like 18, 19 people.
Yeah.
Even for something important, like last week we had our presentation meetings and we had to find out what to include in the presentation, the statement, really important, and hardly anyone came.
That's mad, isn't it? That is just crazy.
But yeah, I am a little bit disappointed that not a lot of people did turn up, but again, I guess it's a different experience doing something online than doing something in person. Maybe
even through your Eventbrite, though, not necessarily through your own networks. I'm surprised that Eventbrite chuck up more for you.
I mean, a few people have kind of purchased tickets using Eventbrite, but then when it's come to the event, they haven't actually turned up.
Okay.
I'm not too sure why, because obviously you know that they're paying for a ticket and then
Yeah.
they're not coming. So
And they're not turned up. That is bizarre.
but
Yeah, that is really bizarre. I would be asking for my money back.
yeah, definitely. You know, if you don't turn up to something or you can't make it, you would expect them to then say, "Well, can I have a refund then?" But
Yeah.
you know,
Or
no.
just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. Can I attend another one instead?"
Yeah, definitely. But you know. But yeah, I am looking forward to doing something in person, and we can definitely keep in touch, you know, via email as well. I can send you some of my works as well.
That'd be brilliant. That'd be brilliant. I'm going to be coming down to Leicester at some point.
Ooh, okay, brilliant.
I keep saying, "Oh, I think we should go down to the Henry Moore Museum."
Well, if you're up for it as well, obviously these workshops finish on the 30th of June, but you know, whenever you're free, we can always set up our own Zoom call or something if you want, just for a chat or something like that.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. That would be really nice. I'm not around on the 30th. I've got 2 more dates that I'm not able to do.
Yeah,
And
I think you said
yeah,
the 17th of June, the 30th, didn't you? I think.
yeah. Where am I on the 30th? Oh, who knows? Who knows where I am? Catching another cold. And what else did I say I was going to use? I said I was going to use the elastic band, didn't I? What colour am I going to use the elastic band? White, I think.
The elastic band will make some really, really interesting ones as well. Some different like lines as well. And I think we talked ages ago about the journey of a material and the journey of the pieces in terms of it developing over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that idea of using string and dragging it along the surface is quite interesting in terms of that journey and the process.
I think this is yep. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm trying to remember where I got this elastic band from, actually, because I remembered at the time going, "Oh, I'll keep that because that came from blah blah." It'll come to me in a minute. Dragging it across, you reckon?
Now, at the moment, I've just been working on envelopes and some bubble wrap as well. So I think
I need. Hang on, just a wee minute, Holly. I need to go. That's my door. Hello. Hi. Right, Holly, I'm getting a hob delivered. I'll just be about 5 minutes, okay?
that's fine. Don't worry.
Hello. Hi, come in. It's just about to get there. Right, that's it. I made it back.
Is it being delivered now then? I can hear lots
Yeah.
of
Yeah, no, it's actually getting fitted.
Oh.
So John Lewis are fitting it. It's just we needed a new hob. It's kind of quite bashed, and it started just every now and again not properly starting up. And we thought, oh, what are we going to do? Just wait until the cooker's not working, or should we replace it? Replace it before it stops working. So we decided to do the grown-up thing and replace it before it stops working.
At the moment, I'm just doing some printing using my bubble wrap.
Oh, nicely. Oh, bubble wrap. I'd forgotten all about bubble wrap.
Yeah, I'm just doing stripes of different colours and then printing onto this A1 sheet that I had down before. And I've got lots of other marks on as well, just because I think I told you in the other workshops that I always put an A1 sheet down and create over the top. Really improvised, really spontaneous marks from smaller works that I've been doing. Accidental marks that have just kind of gone on this sheet as well.
Well, that's quite a good idea, actually. I love that you're not afraid of messing things up. I kind of look at some of the kind of marks that I've made, and I'm like, right, whatever I do, I don't want to spoil that, so I kind of stay away from it. But you're just like, no, it's fine, just bash away. Bash away.
Right, I'm going to go back to the nail brush as well. The trusty nail brush.
Trusty nail brush. Quite like the sound that the elastic band is making.
Oh yeah, I can hear.
It's quite. Oh, just making a big mess.
With it being an elastic band, maybe you could see what happens if you try and flick it at the surface, or
if I ping it.
Whatever, yeah. If you do something like that. I always like to think about when I'm using objects, different ways that I can use those objects. So different methods to apply the material, the kind of paint and whatever material I'm using to the surface.
I want to do a bit of printing now as well. Oh, I know what I can use.
I'm going back to my tennis ball. I think I'm going to get the golf ball out as well, actually. To make some.
Well, I loved that golf ball, and so that was the first thing that I used, but I've subsequently kind of covered up most of the brilliant marks that the golf ball made. So I think I'm going to use the golf ball again to do another layer. But I'm also going to do a little bit of printing. What color? the lime, the lime didn't make as good marks as I thought it might.
Did the lines come out then?
No, that's what I'm saying. It didn't take enough paint because it's kind of concaved in a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought it might make. I thought it would make better marks than that.
I think it's interesting when you use something and you think it's going to make a certain mark, and then it does something totally different.
Yeah.
It's very surprising, like before when you were using, I think, a tennis ball, and it made some different marks for you. You just obviously didn't like using it at all, and that's quite surprising because that seems to be my go-to object as well. So
it's the tennis ball. You make such good use of the tennis ball, but you've got it on a kind of string thing. So
yeah, I've actually got two. So I've got one without string, and then I've got this one that I quite like using as well, the stringy one. But yeah, I've actually got two that I'm using at the moment. And one thing that I did last September, I actually used a basketball as well outside with some fabric and some large pieces of paper. So again, that
a basketball, that would have been fun.
Yeah, it was really good actually. It made some really interesting marks. And it really came out as well. Obviously you have to dunk it in the paint, and the first few marks are quite heavy with the paint, but then after a while you start printing some really good textures. I always find it hard to gauge exactly how much paint and how far to kind of dunk the object into the paint before it becomes too much.
I actually quite often put the paint onto the page and work from a pool of paint already on the page, rather than dipping the object and then taking it from there.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it does mean that, well, I suppose it depends on how you put the paint on the paper, actually. Yeah, quite often the marks that I made, the ones where I did the series of 4, and that's always started off with paint in lines or circles.
Yeah.
Right.
I need a top up of my paint now. I'm actually starting to run low in my palette again. Oh wow.
I don't know whether this is done or not, or whether I want to actually do the ball again.
I like the golf ball. I like the kind of like track marks. I think we talked about that. The kind of the track marks around the page.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't think I'm going to add any more to that at the moment. I think we're going to call that quits.
I do like the colours that you've used as well. I know it's very much about experimenting with the materials, but I think the colours on the work make it that much more appealing to look at as well.
Sure. And look, once you put a wee frame around it.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Ta-da!
Is that just a bit of kind of mounting card as well that you've used?
Yeah. So like this, I'll show you. So these are the prints that my dad got made up of his paintings. So all I've done is I've stripped it down. I've taken the painting out, the print, not the painting, and I've just used the back mount and just mounted it. Wow. I think he'll be all right with it. He won't mind.
Oh, I really like that. I'll go and get one of mine actually, because I do have one in a black frame that I've done at home. I'll show you. They're just frames that I bought now nearly 2 years ago and haven't used them. An 18 piece that I created in the workshops, and I've just mounted it and then framed it on this kind of black glossy.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
Again, I bought them from Amazon. I'm sure I could have got them a little bit cheaper, but I did get them from Amazon. 2 frames. Yeah,
that's all right. That's pretty good.
I'll put them to.
It makes a difference when you put a frame, a mount or a frame round a piece, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
It really punches it out. Right, I'm just going to go and check on my hob. Right, I'm going to get myself another wee bit of paper. Time for another one.
Brown paper at the moment. So far I've just started off with the whisk and doing a bit of action painting with it, as well as a bit of printing as well.
Hang on, just a minute. Where's what?
As in this one? Yeah, that's one.
Rather than just making a monochrome one, though, I think I'm going to add a bit of colour onto it. Might add some blue to it, I think. How did the elastic band turn out then? Are you still working with the elastic band, Fiona? Right, I think Fiona's connection might have gone, so we're just going to carry on until 1 o'clock. I hope you're all enjoying this session as well. I know that I'm going to be recording it and putting it on YouTube, but I hope you're all liking the workshop. I hope it's giving you some really good ideas as well in terms of mark making and what you can use. Now I'm just using some Baker Ross kind of ready mix paints, just to kind of make my marks. But think about other materials that you can use as well. Now that's made some really nice marks just using different kind of blues on the bubble wrap as well. And now I think I'm going to go back to using the tennis ball. I might pour myself a bit more paint as well. So I always quite like using just straight kind of brush marks as well within my work. So maybe something like that. And I'm also going to add a bit more light blue. And then some green as well. Plenty of green in there. Now these plastic cups that I'm using here seem to make some really, really cool marks as well. So I'm just going to start by twisting my cup round gently in there. And then just printing some really cool circular shapes. I might start dunking my tennis ball in the paint too. So again, just creating some different effects using different materials. Now I quite like mixing colours personally, so we're going to do something like that. And also it's a good way of generating different works really, really quickly, just by using mark making and different objects. So I've got something like this that I've done. Now I feel like there's quite a little kind of ocean theme going on here with the colours that I'm using. So we've got plenty of light blues, dark blues, we've got some white going on, and some green as well. I quite like using the green actually. So what I would say for this is just get the tennis ball, dunk it in the blue paint gently, and then just do like a mix of like making marks like that, just spinning it around. As well as just bouncing the tennis ball on the surface. Maybe get some blue as well. So think about like marine type colours. Like for me, this wasn't intentional, it was just a good mix of kind of colours, and it reminds me of using cool colours and ocean kind of scenes as well. So I'm very much focusing on my use of different blues and then using white to kind of blend things together. So again, this cup is making some really interesting marks. And we just try and spin it around on the surface. And if I just hold that up there, you can see that it's making a really cool spiral effect at the bottom. And I'm also going to use the whisk and experiment with flicking the yellow paint as well onto the surface. Like Fiona's back. Hi, Fiona.
Sorry about that. The internet went down. I think we blew a fuse in the process of putting the cooker in or something like that.
Is it all mended and is it all fitted and everything, or are they still working hard at it?
It's a work in progress, I think. It's fine.
I've actually started making underwater kind of thing, mark making piece on the remainder of my brown paper.
Nice one.
I'm focusing at the moment on mixing different blues, using white and using some greens as well, and blending them together.
Right, I have to show you this then, because in the interim period since we got split, look, I made a blue background and I've started putting this greeny blue on it. Yeah. Different marks, quite different. Oops, quite different marks. Yeah. I actually thought that green would show up a bit better on that blue background, but it doesn't.
I use the shot glass, Fiona. It's quite effective dragging the tennis ball as well across the surface as well as bouncing it.
It is, yeah. It makes really kind of good sweeps, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There we are.
I like that. I like the whites and the yellows that you've got in there as well.
Yeah, I've used this whisk as well just to get the remainder of the colour on.
What did it feel like being back in uni?
It was really good, actually. It was nice to get back in and start doing more practical work again. In my time that I was in, because we had 2 weeks back to back. The week commencing the 10th and 17th of May, so about 2 weeks ago now. And I started working on my kit for the engagement project for the Henry Moore Gallery. Designing my zine and just making some packs that children can take away in the gallery and do it. So that's really what I was working on in my 2 weeks that I was in.
So is that collaborative with other students at uni, or do you do that sort of individually?
We do it individually, but for me, the collaborative sense comes in where I'm using either the kits or the envelope packs and then having the activity of posting them to people and joining at home or wherever they are and make something. So really, I would say I'm collaborating, but collaborating with an audience.
Yeah, rather than collaborating with other students. Yeah,
definitely. But a lot of students, though, have on my course agreed to have one of the packs and to do them. So
that's cool.
Sure. Not a lot of people are actually getting involved with the project, which is surprising. There's only about 10 of them.
High profile, isn't it? I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, we have the option the third term, so obviously from Easter onwards, to join the Leeds Art Gallery project, which was a response to the Natural Encounters exhibition, just focusing on landscape and the environment and being outdoors. And then the second one was to make a sculpture in response to the Portable Sculpture Project, an exhibition that's on at the moment. So just a sculpture with anything that is portable in some way. And with the same gallery, with the Henry Moore Gallery, there was a second project, and that was the engagement one where you can also devise an activity or something for the audience to do in relation to that exhibition. So, for instance, in my zine, I've got like an exhibition word search and some information about the works that are being shown at the moment. But surprisingly, not a lot of people have done it. I mean, for the Leeds Art Gallery one, we've had about 15 of us in the group, because we do it on Zoom. So there's about 15 of us in the group, and we've got a meeting actually tomorrow with the curator of the exhibition. But yeah, 15 out of our possible 50 from our level. And then
that's crazy. Just
yeah, for sure.
So what do you think? Why do you think people don't engage with something like that? Because to me, that sounds like an absolute fantastic opportunity as a student.
The only thing I can think of is when the tutors put it out as an announcement, because we use Microsoft Teams as like a way to kind of communicate and to find out the timetable and things that are coming up, artist talks and whatnot. And they never put that it's mandatory. They always put it's something that you can do if you would like to join in. They don't say you have to do it. It's more if you want to. And then just no one does it.
unless I have to do it, I'm not getting out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I really don't know, because there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of people, that are doing. I was saying there's a lot of people that are either doing one project or whatever, but there's quite a few that actually aren't doing any of them. For me, I'm doing all of them, but that's because it kind of links to my practice in a way, because for the Leeds Art Gallery one, I've been looking at the use of like different materials, creating collage surfaces, and then inviting the audience to join in and create on different things. And then for the portable sculpture, again focusing on recycled materials and transforming them into something else. So for me,
but you work at making those connections. I think perhaps some artists work at like creating boundaries around their art, whereas you kind of push and make connections. It seems to me, as an artist.
Yeah, I do quite like kind of getting my work, my ideas out there, but also for me, because it is quite an interactive practice, involving the audience or setting up something, for instance, like a workshop, which I can then facilitate and then invite the audience to then create. I do quite enjoy that element of audience interaction and working and collaborating with an audience to then make something. So yeah. But I think because of obviously lockdown as well, that's where these online workshops have kind of stemmed from. It really started last April or no, actually it wasn't. It was before that, last March I think it was. Where I would be devising my own craft activities and then doing them on Facebook Live for the charity that I work with. And then after the interim show, because we had an interim show or like an online exhibition in the second term, so I think February or. And I actually just started off doing a few workshops, and then I got a good response for them. But then over time, I think it's because I've run from, I don't even know when they started. When did these workshops start, Fiona? I don't
think I was one of your first, but yeah, this year.
I think it was from the middle of February up until the end of June. Whether or not people just don't want to come every week, or they just want to come as a one-off and that's it. Or they don't want to be committed to joining, they just want to kind of come and go as they please. I don't know if that's
okay to know.
But
I've enjoyed coming every week, but I can appreciate that maybe I'm just going to be 2 minutes or so. Is there anything I can do, Grace? So was there anyone? I think that the AEG one that John was talking about, it's meant to be that on the same Okay, hob's not getting fitted. Right, this one needs a bit more colour and a bolder colour. I think I might go for my. I don't have many dark. Oh, I do have a dark green. I do have a dark green. Dark green.
Well, I've actually done an A2 piece this time. And now I'm just going to use some smaller pieces of white card to do some printing. It's got some small like A6 and A5 pieces of card that I just ordered from on the internet, so I'm just going to be doing some printing. Oh, it's very warm where I am. I can see the sun glowing inside.
What are you going to do this afternoon?
I think a walk. I'm meeting up with my friend actually at 2 o'clock, so I think
Nice.
a bit of lunch and a walk or something like that. How about you? Are you staying in all afternoon?
Actually, somewhat shamefully on such a beautiful afternoon, I'm going to the cinema this afternoon because our cinemas are reopened, which is brilliant news. So I'm going to see, a film called Ammonite on at our local art house. So that's nice. This is that's not as dark as I thought it was going to be. This is my first time back at cinema this year. I'm very excited.
Well, I actually went to the cinema last Thursday as well, and because for us they reopened a week last Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what did you go and see?
I actually went to see The Conjuring, one of the Conjuring films. called The Devil Made Me Do It, and obviously it's a horror film, and there was plenty of jump scares, but it was really good. It was really,
Oh,
really
nice one.
me back as well, and you know, mixing with people again, it was very, very different actually. I haven't
Yeah,
done cinema for now
yeah,
2 years before then, so no, it was really good to have a bit of normality.
yeah. We were on holiday last week and we went up to St Andrews and then over to Dunkeld and then up to Oban, and all the time we were like just doing lots of walking. We did sort of about 80 or 90 miles walking over the week, so it was a nice combination of really sort of just the two of us walking in the wilderness versus getting home and being in busy restaurants and busy hotels and what have you. So it was lovely. It was a really good break. And I've got my trusty whisk.
Oh, okay.
So where are you going to go for lunch?
We were thinking of going to a cafe near me actually. So I'm gonna have a look because I actually haven't been since they reopened. So I'm gonna have a look at their booking system if you've got to book or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much got to book everything around here just now.
I mean, there's a few places that allow you to just walk in, and a few places are like, oh no, you've got to book online. You've got to.
Oh yeah, so I fancy you one back then, alright? Probably because your phone us in, you'll be your phone in a couple of if you change your mind, you want a different one to spend.
Yeah.
That's that you want to work in there.
I just checked, it's the same size. No, the wrong size.
Like, anyone. Right. You know, you don't get government to the wall to money.
Oh, the whisk was a good idea. See, that's the best thing about doing this with you, Holly, is you come up with all these brilliant ideas that wouldn't necessarily enter into my head.
I've just got some newsprint that I'm just kind of folding back on itself because I got it on a roll, and it's flying everywhere. So I'm just kind of folding it back on itself just so I can use it to work on. All right. I also quite like using different size materials and really irregular kind of forms to then use as surfaces. So the idea of cutting something up and taking like a cut and paste kind of technique, and then assembling it back together in a new way. I think it's quite interesting as well. Doing something with the material before you start working on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Your packaging ideas actually really inspire me as well. The different ways that you've kind of packaged up the work and then sent it to me. Either slotting it in or making a box. Really, really good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It somewhat taxed the post office a couple of times. What is in the box? Nothing. Nothing in the box. There must be something. No, there's nothing. Yeah, I love packaging. I love packaging. In fact, let me see. One of the workshops is a couple of weeks ago now. They did just a few bits of origami boxes, like just making up origami cubes. And I was like, oh, how can I make these things work? What can I do with them? How can I package things up in them? So, and now I'm kind of getting any bits of paper that come into me. I'm kind of looking at it and going, okay, can I make you into a square and then a cube?
Well, brilliant.
I like the way that the paint changes its texture as well. The kind of wetter it is and the tackier it is.
Now, I actually joined in with an outdoor painting workshop a few weeks ago. It
Nice.
was really interesting, actually, really, really good. But it was really fun in the sense that I was doing something a little bit different to what I normally do. You know, I wasn't sure what to expect, and it didn't really have much information on. I just bought a few different materials and made some really nice figurative kind of pieces using really abstract ways of applying the paint using the brush, but in an aim to create a piece. And it was just basically what was around you. So I had to select something in my garden from where I was working, and paint that using really abstract kind of gestures, but in an aim to then make that the aim of the work. And it was really interesting, actually, really, really good. You know, I haven't joined in with any other online workshops before. And I know I was talking to you a bit about it before, you know, about joining in with different Eventbrite things as well. So it was really good.
Oh yes, you did, and how did you get on with the wasn't printmaking, what was it? The collaging one.
Youth collage one. Yeah, that was really good, actually. I mean, he said that it was meant to last for like 2 hours, and it only lasted for an hour, but it was good. It was just a one-off event. There were quite a few people that turned up. There was about 10 or 11 of us, all a few years younger than me, I would say, but it was really good, actually. But it wasn't experimental in the sense that it was informal and we'd have a chat and make at the same time. It was very instructional, so step by step how to make it. And we made some like little origami and little collage houses and different scenes using a really varied selection of materials. So like kitchen foil, cling film, tissue paper. So no, it was but it was a very different way of teaching in comparison to what I tend to do when I do my workshops. It was very different. It was really good. Really good.
It's nice to see how different people work, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I sent you the link actually, didn't I? But then I didn't realise that there was an age limit on it because I thought that it was just for anyone. And I had a look after and it says something like 16 to 25 and I was like, oh no. And I
no.
But
can't like that. Can't like that.
But no, sorry about that. Because I did think it was for anyone, and then I told a few people about it.
Blue piece.
Oh wow! Is that the golf ball and shot glass?
The golf ball and the shot glass and the whisk and the S thing and and I put a blue background down. Actually, I think the golf ball needs a bit more. I think I'm going to do that golf ball in yellow as well. Where's my yellow? Or what about limey green? What about limey green? Do you think that would work?
I think lime green would work really well with the blue, actually.
Let's try that.
I'll show you what I think. I've actually been doing some more kind of blues and greens and working with line a lot. So lines with the objects that I've been using. I've actually used the comb as well on that too.
Your comb? Yes, I used my brush. I used my brush on that one as also. Yeah. Right. Whoopsie daisy. That's getting messy now. It's getting messy. Right. Doing the line, going in with the lime green and the golf ball.
Oh, brilliant. So will you be joining next week then, Fiona? You will, won't you?
Next week here?
Next week, yeah, I think you said next week and then the 23rd, is it as well?
Yeah, next week I'm here, and then in the following week I don't think I am.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, if it suits you, Holly, I appreciate the time that you take. Yeah, you were right. The lime green works. Totally transformative. Woo! Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! Yep, and it totally makes the golf ball king of the piece again.
I think what I'm going to do now with this piece, actually, because I've just folded it up to do some printing on either side. I'm actually going to cut it in half now, even though it's wet. Just cut it in half and make 4 different works from that, I think, actually.
Okay.
This is something that I haven't done before. Or at least within these workshops anyway. So I'm just going to cut it in half. There we are. Yes, we're going to have 4 different sections, I think. Now, I think it's quite interesting as well when you have work that you've done and then you come back to it after and then you rework into it and develop it further. Those kind of stages of, I guess, creation and the process of the work.
Do you ever like weave your pieces?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I have done that with a lot of my old works. So that kind of reminded me when you mentioned about reworking and using some of your dad's work as surfaces and different things. I actually did do some weaving with my old college work. Holograph prints that I'd done that I experimented with. I enjoyed the process, but you know when you have to try something to know if you like it or if you can do it. It was okay, but I wasn't a fan of the overall appearance of it.
Right.
These workshops, I always talk about the process and the activity, and don't worry what it looks like. But I think with other things, other craft things that you do look at the appearance and you think, oh, that works, or that doesn't work. For me, I enjoy the process of the weaving and reworking into the pieces, but I didn't actually like the final appearance or outcome of it, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. You've got to enjoy what you make at the end of the day, for sure. Lovely. Yes.
I need to cut this one up too, but I've got another one here as well. So we're going to have 4 different works from
4 different pieces.
Yeah.
4 different pieces. It's a factory. It's a factory you've got going on there.
So speaking of that as well, I think with this activity of mark making and using different objects, it is really easy to generate lots of work in a short amount of time, you know? I think when you get into a rhythm of just using the objects and just being open to making different things, then it starts to become what the activity is. Because a lot of people, when it comes to mark making and using different objects, they get conscious as to what they're meant to make. And when you say, oh, just make marks with the objects and just look at the textures and just make marks on the surface, a lot of people are like, but what am I making? What's it meant to look like?
What's it meant to look like? What's it representing?
Yeah, what's it representing?
Sometimes it's just representing a state of mind, which is a bit of a concern. But you know, you just got to run with it. You just got to work with it.
Well, that is actually quite interesting. You know, what does the work, if you're doing mark making, what does it look like when you're angry? What does it look like when you're happy? You know, when you're angry, how the work's more gesture in the sense that it's very quick to apply the objects. What's it like when you're relaxed? You know, what does it look like? I think you can always tell to an extent when you look at the gestures if it's been done with quite a lot of force or not.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to think about. Right, I think I'm going to do one more use and then use print. What time are you wanting your lunch then, Fiona? Because I know a lot of the times we've actually run over.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna finish in just a few minutes. I've got one little sheet here that I'm kind of using up paint. I'm using up the last of the paint at the moment, actually, Holly. And I need to head for this cinema date as well.
Brilliant. What time is the screening?
I think the film starts at 12:30, but it is a nice day, and it probably would be quite nice to walk down. It's only about a 40 or so minute walk to the cinema from here. So, walk. And Steve is doing his office. He might have the opportunity to walk for a bit with me, which would be nice.
Well, I'm actually doing the same as you. I'm using up the rest of my paints in my palette just to save me washing up loads of stuff.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I can't abide waste, and I always think, well, I could just use that, even if it's just for a wee background for something for later on. I think that's what I'm doing, is a wee background for something later on. A wee starter for 10. There we go. I'm done. See ya. Oh, that's very fresh.
Well, I've just started by doing some different lines, and then I'm actually going to fold it over.
Mm-hmm.
Do a bit of printing. I think whenever you run out of paints, it's a good way to fill up the page by just folding over it. And already you can see I've got some.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So I'm just gonna again fold it over just to fill up some of the corners, because I know I talked about with you before.
You love your corners.
Corners and white space in the work.
Uh-huh.
Could go diagonal as well, so something.
Yeah. So I'm making a print of that last one that I've just done.
There we are.
Oh yes. Oh Holly, what a great thing to do.
And now I can either leave that hole or cut it off. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I love the colours that you've used. The lime green really comes out as well. I can.
Yes, I'm glad I messed around with the lime green. I'm going to reprint that a second time. I can't believe that you made all of that work just from those few strokes and a few folds.
And that is the last of my paint gone now. I've got a little bit of black left, but you can see me.
Got to be careful with the black though, haven't you?
Yes, definitely. And I can show you now. So you've got different sections. It's quite interesting to then piece together again. So.
Yeah. Yes, I like that one.
See that, and then just cut this up again. There we are.
Brilliant. And you could just move them round, couldn't you? Just turn them round and they make a different things.
Well, that reminds me of like a jigsaw puzzle in a way, you know, cutting the work up and then kind of collaging it and putting it in different positions again. Yeah.
Oh, listen, I've had a great day today. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I was late. Sorry that I was backwards and forwards. I'll photograph what I've done and send it to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I'll see you next week.
And enjoy the cinema.
And you enjoy your lunch in the sunshine.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.